Hi, welcome to Ammosmith.com. Today we're going to take you into a completely new realm of casting. What we're going to do is we're going to show you how to make driving bands for your cast bullets. And what driving bands allows you to do is to take an ordinary cast bullet like this and insert either copper or brass driving bands on them. Now this does a couple of things. One, it allows the bullet to be pushed at near jacketed velocities. This is an experimental process that I'm showing you. Don't try this unless you got some experience in casting and you know what you're doing. So far what we've gotten is a 180 grain cast bullet for the 30 caliber out of my 308, and we're pushing it close to 2,700 feet a second. And we are getting extremely good results, and our accuracy is just over an inch at 100 yards. Now with just a gas checked bullet at the same velocity, we're getting about 4 to 5 inch groups at 100 yards, and we're getting some terrible leading in the barrel. So what this is allowing the caster to do is to get jacketed performance without having to go ahead and either purchase jacketed bullets or to buy the expensive equipment to swage bullets. So here's the equipment you're going to need. One, you're going to need a mold. We're going to be doing this in 30 caliber, so you need a 30 caliber mold. In this case we're using a Lee 30 caliber 180 grain round nose, and I am using a neck turning tool with a 7mm mandrel in it, and I'll show you why in a minute. You're going to need some long fine needle nose pliers, a cutoff saw, 5/16 inch brass seamless tubing, which you can get at just about any hobby shop, and some calipers. And what you don't see here, what you do need, you're also going to need a vise, because in order to insert the driving bands you're going to have to use both hands, and this thing is going to have to be set up in a vise in order to do that. It's a little slow, but in this particular instance we're making cast bullets better, not so much faster. So let's go ahead and get started. What the gas check does is it ensures that if any of the driving bands that we cut and installed on the cast bullet come off, that the gas check with the pressure behind it will push it out the barrel. So far we haven't lost a single driving band in this process. Now there are certain bullets that are more accepting of this method than others. I've tried the RCBS mold. The driving bands are too wide, and the accuracy was about the same as it was, without the driving bands, but we were able to push it at higher velocities. So here's what I'm doing in order to make these things the right diameter. What I'm using here is a K&M neck turning tool, and I put the 7mm mandrel in it because the 5/16 inch tubing fits nicely on the inside of it here like this. And all I do is I have it set to the diameter I want. As I cut it down, basically what I'm doing is I'm using this as a hand-turned lathe to cut this to the exact diameter that I want. As we go down the tubing, we'll see that the consistency that we get is better for the driving bands. And then what I'll do is I'll measure it, and I got 310. So I need to bring this in just a little bit more. And so what I do, once I get this where I want it, this should be measuring right about 308.5. As you can see, we have cut the tubing down to the right diameter. I got about 308.5. So what we need to do now is determine how long each driving band needs to be. And what we do is we measure the inside of the bullet mold inside the actual driving band itself. The little rings on the bullet itself are driving bands, which separate the grease grooves. So let me show you how to do that. Okay, as we're looking inside the bullet mold itself, you will see inside of here we have these little grooves, and what we want to do is measure the ones that are inside, which are cut, because this is the opposite image of what we're going to see on the bullet itself. So let me go ahead and reposition the camera and show you how to actually measure them. Okay, on your calipers, most calipers that you have, this part here will measure inside diameter, and this part here measures the outside diameter. So what I'm going to do is get into the mold here and measure and I'm getting 0.013. So what I want to do is I want to cut these to 0.011 or 0.012. And we'll cut a couple and we'll see how they work. Okay, I got the chop saw set up, and it's not secured to the bench right now, but what we need to do is determine the blade position and how deep we need to cut these. So all I do is I take the chop saw, I bring the blade down, and knowing what my outside diameter needs to be, or my outside cutting area needs to be for length, I put it on the dial caliper and I'll lock it into place. And I slide the caliper where I need it to be. Like this. Now I pretty much know this is where I need to make my cut. And to make it easier, instead of measuring out the blade, I'll find a spot on the vise itself to measure from. And this part here wiggles a little bit, but this back part here does not. So I go back here,